Welcome to another Sunday WOAY ABC4 Community Forum, where we talk to community leaders and local success stories to discuss important information that affects all of us here in Southern West Virginia. I'm your host, Brandy Lawrence, and today we're joined by three distinguished guests. Tina Pannell, who is the president of the Beckley Juneteenth Committee, community activist Katanya Hart, and Doris Fields, also known as Lady D, who is the founder of the Beckley Juneteenth Festival, join us this morning to talk about the upcoming Juneteenth festivities and so much more. Thank you all for joining us at the forum.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Awesome. Great to have you. So Juneteenth right around the corner, but for the people out there that may not be familiar with the holiday, since it's still relatively new to some people, can you all explain what it's all about?
So we'll let you go ahead and take that, Tina.
So Juneteenth here in Beckley, it will be on Saturday, June 22nd from 12 to 3. However, we do a memorial on the morning of as well, and that'll be at 10 o'clock. And it's really just to pay homage to all of those who came before us. And it's about Freedom Day.
Definitely. And I see you have the proclamation here as well for Juneteenth. Didn't know if you want to read that off now or we want to wait a bit. Or
Well, this isn't about Juneteenth. It's more because Juneteenth is specifically where the slaves in the South, in Texas specifically, found out that they were free. So the Emancipation Proclamation was issued in 1863. However, people couldn't read. They didn't know, and so the individuals chose not to tell them, and they continued to toil until pretty much the Civil War was over, and the Union forces were able to come down and enforce the proclamation that the president at the time had put out there. So they didn't actually become physically free until 1865. The interesting thing is Freedom Day for West Virginia is February 3rd, 1865. The slaves in West Virginia were not free until 2 years later. So it's important that Juneteenth is happening. What happened in Texas occurred. It was unfortunate that the individuals toiled 2 more years than they needed to, but the fact is slaves in West Virginia didn't get their freedom until 2 years later at all. They didn't even have the option because of how West Virginia entered the Union as a slave state. And quite a few people don't know that West Virginia was a slave state. Even though our mantra is mountaineers are always free, everybody wasn't free until that time and that point. And so that's what this proclamation is about. I don't know if you wanted to wait or if you did want to read it so that we can bring together that whole idea of
Freedom Day.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll read it.
Okay.
All right, so this is basically from Sean Hornbuckle, if I'm saying that correctly, and it says, recognizing February 3rd, 1865 as West Virginia's authentic Freedom Day. Witness, whereas West Virginia entered the federal union as a slavery state and no enslaved person born to July 4th, 1863 could be free until 1867. This left Black West Virginians over the age of 25 enslaved. And whereas on February 3rd, 1865, West Virginia legislatures officially ratified the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which abolished slavery and involuntary servitude, and whereas West Virginia was the 24th state to ratify the 13th Amendment, helping to secure its adoption throughout the United States, and whereas West Virginia Emancipation Day remains overshadowed by more widely recognized events such as June 19th, 1865, marking Texas liberation, and August 8th, 1863 in Western Kentucky. And whereas February 3rd portrays a true account of the struggle and victories experienced by West Virginians' enslaved population, and whereas recognition of West Virginia's unique emancipation narrative helps correct historical inaccuracies, creates a more informed foundation for the future generations and honors the legacy and struggles of enslaved Black West Virginians. And whereas, until all are free, none are free, is an oft repeated maxim that can be used to highlight the significance of the end of the era of slavery that exists in West Virginia on February 3rd, 1865. Therefore, West Virginia Authentic Freedom Day is February 3rd, 1865, is hereby recognized.
Wow.
And so that actually was Sean Hornbuckle, Lewis Hollis, and Anitra Hamilton that all got behind this and made sure that our history is kind of quantified as a part of the narrative, which is so often missing. And that's another great thing about celebrating Juneteenth and having that day. I have to tell you, I'm Black all the time, so Black History Month is nice, but the fact is every day is Black History Month for me.
Absolutely.
And so having those opportunities to learn what, in the greater scheme of things, that impact me, that has brought me to this point, is really important. And so I'm happy to celebrate Juneteenth here in West Virginia as we take a look at our own history and contributions of multiple groups of people on how we got here. And so I've been coming up with Tina for like the last 7 years.
Literally.
I wrote a piece called The Ratification of the 13th Amendment. The rally to ratify the 13th Amendment, a little alliteration, and just talking about West Virginia's history. Actually, the Emancipation Proclamation was issued twice. It stuck the second time, and then as you see in little corners, the information didn't get to the people. And then the narrative for West Virginia is also a little bit of an issue where a lot of people, again, they don't believe because West Virginia was a part of the Union, they don't understand that the Emancipation Proclamation did not impact West Virginia. It was only for rebelling states that the proclamation that the president put out, it applied to. A lot of people don't realize that, and so coming together to tell the truth to the people, to our own people, is really important to be able to celebrate that. So that's one of the really nice things about Juneteenth and Beckley Juneteenth. And again, I'll thank Lady D, because 20 years ago, I don't think anybody was doing, I don't think, please don't get me if you were doing it, but Lady D came along and decided to put her energy on it. If people don't know, she is a singer, performer, scholar extraordinaire.
Yeah.
So many plays, she writes her own pieces. I'll let you talk for yourself a little bit, but I'm thrilled to know her. I'm amazed that she's in my hemisphere, kind of deal. When I came here through Job Corps, I didn't know I was going to be able to, and even to meet you as a lovely anchor woman here at this desk is really exciting. But I'd really like to hear from Doris about, did you wake up one morning?
The infancy.
Yeah, like
When
how
you're
did
like,
this vision get
why
birthed?
isn't it happening here in Beckley? And what was the energy behind you starting it?
Well, I've known about Juneteenth since probably 2000. That's when I don't even know how it came about that I got interested in it, but I wanted to do something. I knew that West Virginia, as far as I knew, didn't have any celebrations. Then after I left Theater West Virginia and stayed here in Beckley and I got settled here, I was actually in a hair shop one day. And the man that was running the store, I was telling him about, he was saying he was, back here, moved back here from Columbus, and he opened the store. And I said, yeah, Columbus, I've heard, they have a big Juneteenth festival there. And he said, yeah, my wife is still there. She's really into Juneteenth, and she's going to be here in the next few months. You should talk to her. So that was Connie McKeever. And so she, when she came to Beckley, actually the next year, which was 2003, was when we tried it, just really on a small scale at Soldiers Memorial Theater there in Beckley. Probably 5 or 6 people came. We tried to get businesses to support us, and the first thing was, what is Juneteenth? And this was everybody, business
It's a
people,
constant education,
the
isn't
Black
it?
communities. What is Juneteenth? So it was like they thought this was a made-up thing, that something that we came up with. But yeah, so we tried it then, and Connie didn't want to give up on it. And so then the next year, we were still at Soldiers. The next year, I believe, but she was more, she started raising money at her shop. She put a little jar on her counter. And so she raised money all through the year by asking people for change. And so she came up with quite a bit of money, by the time June rolled around. And so I got Tamarack involved, and we would have, we had a thing called Juneteenth Honors, and we honored people in the community, and also the Youth Museum. We would do things there. We had like a whole 3-day weekend of events with the Youth Museum. That's where the kids usually came out, and there was, free food, and I had people in to perform and speak. And then I guess, Connie really took it over, more so than me after that. In 2011, I believe, I told her I had to give it up because it was just getting to be too much with very little response, community response. And then I went on to my Simply Jazz and Blues Festival from there. But Connie kept on with it, and that's how things started.
And then 20 years later, I get to speak and be a writer and a performer and try to educate people. Because the other thing that I'm a part of is Black Policy Day. And so I work with Crystal Good and Dr. Shaniqua Smith. And we have our different organizations, and we were talking, and we were like, hey, let's get together our different audiences and let's pick a day. And we hashed it out, and we had the first one up there and invited people who've never been to the Capitol before, didn't know how this interacted in their day-to-day life. And we change it up, give it a little new look, a little music playing.
Now they're coming out in numbers.
Oh my God, yes.
Coming out in numbers.
And a lot of them, it's their first time visiting the Capitol, this thing that's influencing their day-to-day life. And so not only are they learning and coming out, and there's a huge Juneteenth celebration that takes place not only in Charleston as a city, but the Herbert Henderson Office of Minority Affairs on the 15th are going to have an event. Crystal Good has Black by God, the West Virginian, as a paper, and if you go to her site, you can see like a statewide list of the celebrations now that started with one idea connecting with another person, and now it's a statewide event with articles and you inviting people.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like you're responsible for something really huge.
And again, a legacy. Here's another person that wasn't there at the concept. And yeah, I was still going to school. Coming down, knowing you doing plays, you driving over, and being able to come out and just enjoying the opportunity. I came to West Virginia from New Jersey. I came from corn in New Jersey. Yes, it's a garden state, people.
Corn to coal.
Yeah,
Corn to coal is what
to,
she came
to. These
to.
mountains from flatlands and stuff, and the isolation here, only to meet, again, fantastic people that are making a difference. I mean, she's traveled the world in the span of time that I've known her. She's received awards and deserved more awards and accolades. Because I think even currently, Bill Withers' statue.
Yeah, I'm on the committee for the Bill Withers Memorial Statue Fund, and we've almost raised the complete amount to get the statue erected. And actually, Reverend Hightower was down last Wednesday, and we went over to the intermodal gateway to see exactly where the statue is going to be placed, and it's going to be in a beautiful little garden there in the plaza, and the plaza will be renamed the Bill Withers Plaza later on. And so hopefully the statue will be erected before the end of the year, maybe in the fall sometime. And so, yeah, that's been really, really interesting and a lot of fun working with those people to, make this happen and try to push people to donate. And they've been more successful in getting, businesses to donate, because I don't know those people. Mm-hmm. And so they've gotten businesses to jump behind this, and it's been really great. And then the festival also, because Bill Withers' birthday is July 4th, so the festival will be on July 6th. And so that's coming up, and I'm working on that as well. And hopefully at the festival we'll be able to announce a date for the statue to be erected and have some big celebration around that. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Just know I will be an apprentice behind the scenes if you need anything.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Well, you're saying that like on TV, so
All right, and speaking of
I
which,
will
guys,
remember that.
we do have to take a short break for a moment. But guys, to keep up with everything Juneteenth going on with the Beckley Juneteenth Festival, be sure to look up Tina Pinnell on Facebook. We will be right back after the break to talk about more things going on with Beckley Juneteenth and the Bill Withers Festival as well, because we need to know about that. And Freedom Day. Welcome back to Sunday Community Forum. I'm here with Tina Pinnell, Lady D, also known as Doris Fields, and Katanya Hart, and we're talking about all the Juneteenth events coming up, the Bill Withers Festival coming up. I mean, all things, West Virginia, and especially Black history in West Virginia. I've learned a lot of things that I didn't know personally. So since this is Community Forum, we love to find out how we can get the community involved. So for these upcoming events, the Juneteenth, the Bill Withers Festival, anything, do you all need any volunteers? Do you all need some vendors, or any way that the people out there can come out and participate?
Absolutely. If you are interested in vending, if you're interested in volunteering, we need you to go to Tina Pinnell's Facebook, that's my Facebook, and message me so that we can get you in the next meeting, so that we can get you active and ready to go for the 22nd of June. From 12 to 3. We need all hands on deck.
Awesome. And you also have the memorial at the cemetery on, was it 11 a.m.? Was that the same day or the day?
It'll be the same day. 10 o'clock, we'll do a memorial at the Hunter Cemetery, which is now a historical cemetery. And we usually do prayer, and we'll set flags on every single one of those monuments. In recognition and paying homage to our forefathers. And then from there, we'll meet over at the New River Park for fun, food, and music. And then, of course, this year, we're going to have the children swim at a discounted price at $4.50. Our vendors, it's just a $50 charge for them to set up their booth and sell their goods. So we look forward to you reaching out to me and letting me know if you are interested in participating.
Awesome. And I don't know if we needed anything for the Bill Withers Festival. That's still a little bit out. But I did actually want to ask you about the contest. I know you all have, the deadline is passed, and you all have got your submissions, and you'll be naming a winner on the 6th.
Right. Actually, the judges are getting together tomorrow. There was mostly artwork. We got over 100 entries in, and was mostly artwork, and there were a few poems, but the artwork is going to be judged tomorrow, and then the poetry is going to a friend of mine in Charleston, Jamila Brown. She's going to be judging the poetry, and so hopefully next weekend Probably on the 21st, we were going to do a video announcing the winners. And the winners will hopefully be able to attend the Bill Withers Festival on July 6th, because that's where they'll get their prize money. And we'll have their artwork displayed and poetry. So we're excited about that too.
But we can vend at the Bill Withers
Yes.
event too. So,
Yes.
so the same, looking for vendors for that event. And did you need volunteers?
Well, I'm not really sure about the volunteer status, because the Bill Withers Festival is actually under the city. And so I was sort of, since I was on the statue committee, I was sort of eased into being a part of putting together the festival. So I'm not really sure about all of the of what they normally do and what they will call for. So probably in the next week.
Excellent slide by. They had her, and so they had to utilize
Absolutely.
the greatness that's going on.
Absolutely,
here.
and she's not new to the forum. So I know last time she was here, we were here with our friend Jill Moorfield from Beckley Events. So
Yeah.
she may have that information. If you guys go look on Beckley Events, get in touch with Jill Moorfield.
Yeah,
she can definitely tell you.
Jill will have all the answers.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And
With your little touch.
Absolutely. And Katanya, during the break, we were talking about some of the other things, Negro History Week.
Yes. So I was talking with Professor Bernice Morris from Marshall University, and he has actually released a press release. I'm surprised you guys don't have it, that they're looking for proposals that Marshall's putting together a 100-year celebration of Negro History Week, Black History Month that'll be coming up. But we also have today happening the Big Black Joy Festival in Charleston at the Civic Center. And then come 2025, we'll be having our next Black Policy Day. We're inviting the state and individuals that haven't been to the Capitol to experience it on March 10th. Is the day. They can contact Tina, she'll forward us the message, or you can go out, because we also have learning modules about how West Virginia state government works. She's a Delta, actually, she's the president of the graduate chapter.
Yeah, Beckley
here.
Alumni Chapter.
And so Dr. Smith is also a Delta, and so Delta Building Democracy works with us to have these webinars to educate individuals so that they can have a sense of what they'll learn, and then just moving to support policy that not only supports African American. I'm one that supports the Crown Act. We've been trying to get that passed here in West Virginia, but there are other things that people can take control of their life and actually get involved and learn how to get involved. And as you know, this year is a voting year.
Absolutely.
So we encourage everyone to get themselves registered, go to your businesses, go to these festivals, and vote. We don't care who you vote for, participate. That's like money in the bank.
Yes.
And all of these things, understanding how you fit into the narrative is extremely important. The pathway of history was narrow. It was his story, and lots of women have been there to make a difference. Lots of African Americans, and again, other individuals that were widening this way and were able to link arm in arm and just really make a difference here in West Virginia and elevate it to even greater heights than the mountains already are, given that we're the only state 100% in the Appalachian Mountains. Hopefully I'll do a little bit of my rally to ratify the 13th Amendment, and you'll learn probably little known facts, if anyone really knows them, that I found out moving here from New Jersey through Job Corps and then making this my home. I had to learn these things. And it's an extraordinary history. Doris, you were even mentioning there are people that have been grown here, raised up here. Ooh. And we don't even know. You were saying about a young man who is a part of the
Right.
academy, and that you've met Gilligan and his wife and all of these,
West
these
Virginia has a very rich history of not just Black history, but in general. There are so many people from West Virginia that have gone all over the world and done great things that we don't even know about, and we're not recognizing those people, and we should.
Absolutely.
And so to capture it is just very important.
Definitely. I think a lot of people didn't know that Bill Withers was from here, and that's what the Bill
Right.
Withers Festival, the statue, the gala, everything has really served to like teach people like, hey, yeah, he lived here. He was one of us. He's a West Virginian, just
Yeah.
like us.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome.
And the art contest, especially, I was happy that was a way to get kids to understand that Bill Withers was from West Virginia, because they actually had to listen to his music to be inspired by whatever it was that they created. So I'm sure a lot of them didn't know he was from here. A lot of them had never even heard of Bill Withers. He was way before their time, but you still hear his music, and I'm sure they still hear his music and didn't know who he was. So now at least, they have a little bit of knowledge about that, and that makes me happy.
And I'd like to throw out there really quick that if they go to Black by God, the West Virginian Crystal Goods paper, a lot of our history is being recorded in that space. That's a huge effort to get the word out, to get it from, the dinner table and out there. And so one thing that have these earrings have a Sankofa, and one greeting that I like to offer is Sankofa, the ideal of going back and getting those jewels, those important pieces, and standing and supporting. The ideal is that our history as African Americans didn't start with slavery, it didn't end there, that our history is still alive and we're making it every day, and that there was a legacy and excellence before that period of time. So there's more to even look at there. Immediately after slavery ended, there was huge amounts of participation in our government from the former slaves. Unfortunately, there was huge pushback. Yeah. So understand that there will be that, but we have a voice, we have an excellence that we're here to add to the rich narrative of these Appalachian Mountains.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining me at the forum, and thank you all for joining us this Sunday. You guys be sure to tune in next Sunday and have a wonderful week.
Thank you.